Welcome to the Massage Life Podcast. I'm Jordan Pearson. I'm a chartered professional accountant, and I'm here with Melissa Pearson, my wonderful wife, who's a registered massage therapist. And today we're going to talk about how to make more money as a massage therapist. I have nothing to contribute. I always say that at the beginning, and you always get so mad at me.
You have lots to contribute. You're the accountant. This is the topic right up your alley.
Gross. I know a lot of accountants who are really bad with money.
Why?
Which may come as, I don't know.
Maybe they're good with everyone else's money, but bad with their own. Similar to a cook that is so great at cooking everyone else's food, but then at home they just eat Kraft dinner.
Well, it's so interesting because really what it comes down to, when we talk about someone who's good with their money, really, I feel like all we're saying is somebody who's good at managing their expenses, right? Because like an accountant, accountants make good money, but a lot of accountants and people in general, they just don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to spend money wisely or invest money wisely or save money wisely. But I think the problem is on the expenses side. I had so many friends who, once they were finally making really good money, they just started buying more stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Make more, spend more.
Yeah, and accountants don't really manage other people's money. They'll file tax returns, give advice about, different things, prepare financial statements, but that doesn't really translate to good personal finance skills.
Right.
In every case.
Right.
Anyways, we're getting off topic. So we're going to be talking about ways that massage therapists can make more money.
Yeah.
And you've come up with a list of things that you wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason that I wanted to discuss this today is I've just been hearing from a lot of massage therapists lately that finances are really tough right now. And I can relate to that. Every time we go to Costco, I just kind of cry a little bit at the till. It's like, are you for real right now?
Yeah.
Or like filling up the car with gas. It's painful, right?
Well, I think the most present example that comes to mind was the Easter candy that we had for our kids.
Oh my
gosh. You were putting, chocolates into the eggs for the Easter egg hunt.
Hopefully no children are listening to this and you've just ruined.
Well, no, because you work for the Easter Bunny. You will sometimes,
Yeah, help them out.
Yeah, you'll help them out. Him, her, yeah, who knows, whatever. Anyway, so so you would purchase some chocolates, and it had come in this really big box, but then inside of the box was a really small bag with a few chocolates inside. And you had spent an outrageous amount thinking that you were going to be getting a lot of stuff, when you actually didn't get anything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bad. Yeah, inflation has gotten really crazy, and so...
It's not even so much inflation. Yes, that's a part of it. It's just like corrupt companies.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Right?
Too.
Like, stop ripping me off.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why the economy's not great right now. And so I just want to first say that it's not just you, right? These massage therapists, I've heard some of them saying, wow, I picked a bad career. What am I doing as a massage therapist? And it's like, no. It's not you, and it's not what the career you've chosen. It's just life is expensive right now for a lot of people. Everyone's having a hard time.
Yeah.
And so just take a deep breath and realize that people are in the same boat as you.
Except for neurosurgeons. They're probably fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should have been a neurosurgeon.
Dang it. Yeah. So the nice thing about massage therapy is that it is a really flexible career, right? We have some control over what we do. It's not like you're working a 9-to-5, making a flat salary and tough luck, right? Like, we do have some control. And so I did put together some ideas of what we can do to try to have more money in our pocket at the end of the day.
Right.
So the first one is the one that no one likes to hear, so we'll get it out of the way, which is...
Yeah, I hate that this is number one. Because people, I feel like they're coming to this episode hoping for some earth-shattering advice.
Yeah.
But really, this is... Anyways, just say it. Let's just get it over with.
Just rip that one off like a
Band-Aid.
Band-Aid.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, so it's cut back on expenses. Now, agreed, a lot of people hate hearing that one, and they always, there's always that advice of like, oh, just eat less avocado toast, or, oh, drink a little bit less Starbucks, and it's like, oh, goody, like, yeah, saving myself $5 here and there is really going to make that big of a dent, so hear me out. Yeah. Little expenses do add up, and also you need to look at both your personal expenses and your business expenses. I think sometimes people forget that they can control their business expenses, right? Like, it's a write-off, so who cares? I'll just spend money on my business. And sometimes you do need to, and sometimes that's an investment. Sometimes spending money on your business does help you generate more money in the end. But I think just taking a really objective look at at what you're spending your money on and seeing if you can trim any of the fat anywhere is a really easy way to keep more money.
Yeah. Especially in the short term while things are really challenging.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Right. We're not saying that you have to give up on these things forever. Right?
Yeah.
But just in the short term, it can really help to kind of get you back on track.
Yeah. And just one recommendation I would make is if you are not doing direct billing can help with saving those credit card processing fees, which really add up. It's always fascinating at tax time, right? When you have to tally that up and it's like, oh, wow, that's a lot. Like,
should I pull it up right now?
No, don't.
Yeah, it's, well, you do a lot of direct billing.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, you do a ton, but you still paid hundreds of dollars in merchant fees. Yeah. It was outrageous. It was like $300 or $400.
Yeah, it's annoying.
And you direct bill quite a bit.
Yeah,
most of your clients.
Oh yeah, the majority. All that extra amount is usually just the remaining, 20% if they have 80% coverage, or just the added little bits. And so, yeah, implementing direct billing is really helpful. I have a course on it and some printables as well. So check out onlinewellness.ca for that. And just kind of an easy way. Or you can try to get your clients to do more e-transfers instead of credit cards, because then that's usually free for you.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else about cutting back expenses that you wanted to say?
No, I mean, I think it's something that people know that they need to do. It's just hard.
It is hard, yeah.
Yeah, and I get that.
Right.
We've been in that situation numerous times.
Yeah.
Right. It's not fun.
It's not fun, but
yeah. Okay, moving on.
All right. So the next one is to treat more clients. Again, maybe not what you want to hear. Oh, how just work more.
Right.
But I mean, it's an easy way, right? Sometimes we try to get too creative, like, oh, what can I do? It's like, how about just open up more hours, right? Then you don't have to think of all these crazy other things you can do. So nobody wants to do it, but sometimes you have to. If you're looking to see more clients and you're struggling to get more people in the door, then we do have some resources that can help you. So we have some other podcast episodes. So we have episode 28, which is some marketing ideas. It's just like a whole slew of ideas. You can kind of cherry pick which ones are going to work for you.
Right.
And then we also have an episode about getting more clients without more marketing, and that's episode 26. And then we have some articles on our website as well. So we have one called The Little Things Are the Big Things, and it's about just how, just quick, easy things that you can do to retain clientele, right? Because the easiest type of clients to see are just repeat clients. So we have a blog article about that. And what else do we have? We have another article about marketing your massage business in a non-pushy way. I know a lot of us are hesitant to feel salesy, right? When you're a massage therapist, you're just there to help people. And then when you're, it's hard to encourage people without feeling kind of icky about it. And so we have some good ideas on there about how to encourage people to rebook with you without feeling too pushy.
Right.
So we'll have all the links to all these in the show notes as well.
Well, probably not in the show notes, but we'll link a blog
Okay,
post,
we'll link the blog
everything.
post. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another tip about seeing more people that you, again, may not love. We're just telling you all the hard things today. But
yeah.
Another tip about it is to open up more evenings and weekends. I get it. No one wants to work the evenings. No one wants to work the weekends. But they're an easy sell. My evenings and weekends are always booked up weeks and weeks, if not months and months in advance. And so if you're struggling and you're only working like 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something, that could be part of your problem. You may need to open up some evenings.
Right.
Again, maybe it's just temporary while you get ahead right now. But if you're not doing any evenings whatsoever and you're struggling, then I would recommend opening a few.
Right. Good advice.
All right. Next tip is to increase your rates. That's probably the easiest, fastest way to make more money. And this one I would really recommend if you are fairly booked up. You're already seeing as many clients as you want to, and you're just trying to figure out how to make more money. Just increase your rates. If you're busy enough, raise your rates if that's something that you have control over. If you're working
if you're
for
turning
a clinic,
people away.
Yeah.
Especially if you're turning people away, then it makes sense.
Right? And if you're not increasing your rates on a regular basis, if it's been a long time, then you're making less money because you're not keeping up with inflation.
Right. Now that really only applies if you work for yourself.
Exactly.
Right? A lot of people are at the mercy of the clinic or the spa that they're working at. And so they don't have a lot of options in that sense.
Yeah, that's tricky for sure.
So hopefully they're increasing their rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can go back all the way to episode 2. We have an episode on increasing your rates if you want more advice about that. And so the next tip is if you are working for a clinic, you could ask for a raise. So whether that's an increase in your split, or some people have like an interesting arrangement where the split stays the same, but once the clinic retains a certain amount, then the split changes, or you keep... I don't know how it works, but there's some cap.
It works the same way that marginal tax rates work.
Oh, great.
Right?
Marginal tax rate, Todd.
Like
There you go.
once the clinic hits a certain threshold, then more of the money goes to you.
Right.
Right? Same
idea.
Just in reverse.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely something that you can do, because a lot of people don't realize they can, negotiate their contract. It's something you can talk to your employer about. Trust me, they would rather keep you there than to just see you leave because you aren't happy with something with the contract, right? You're like, no, well, I can make 5% more somewhere else. It's like they would probably just rather keep you and pay you 5% more.
Right.
Than to have to try hire another therapist if you're already established.
Is that true though?
It's true for me as
right? Yeah, I guess as someone who hires people. Yeah.
It's like it's just so much easier. To have a new person working, I'm now going to have to set them up with the direct billing. I'm going to have to set them up on the website. I'm going to have to put them on Jane.
Yeah, it's so much
It's
more
so
work.
much work.
Yeah.
And then they have to start fresh from building up a clientele.
Right.
It's a lot of work.
It's worth the 5-10%, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good advice.
So try to ask for a raise.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it does. Maybe they're like, we don't like you anymore. Bye. Like, I doubt it though. They're just gonna be like, sorry, we can't do that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't hurt to ask the question.
Yeah. Okay, next tip. It's a big one, but it's definitely one of the best things that I've done for myself in being able to retain more money is to work for yourself. So if you're working currently for a clinic, maybe it's time to make the shift to working for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, I'd say if you have space in your home, then do it. I know that it's scary. Right. There's all these, there's a ton of work up front to get the licensing and the permitting and to make sure that you're set up properly with the city where you live. But it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if you don't have space in your house, you can look at doing mobile, right? Setting up a mobile practice is so easy. I mean, I shouldn't just say that. Oh, it's so easy. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've done both. Mobile and home clinic. Setting, like all the licensing for mobile is so much easier.
Right.
Maybe it depends on your city, but I doubt it. Most mobile practices, you're set up as a minor home business. The city just takes a quick look at what you're doing. They don't come to your home. They just look at, where you live and make sure that the permits are correct for operating your home as a office. But so much easier. And so even if you're working for a clinic, you don't want to leave the clinic, but if you just need to make a little bit of extra money, it's like, why don't you do mobile on the side?
Yeah. This is the best option for sure.
Yeah.
The best tip that we have in
out
this
of all the
episode.
tips.
Out of all the tips. Well, I look at our podcast. So we've done a 3-part series on mobile massage. And they are the most popular episodes.
Right.
I think even more popular than the embarrassing moments one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Saying a lot.
Yeah, but people come back to that one all the time.
Right.
It's the one that, even though we but recorded it several months ago, it's one that still gets consistent listens.
Right. Yeah, and so that's episodes 8, 9, and 10. That's on mobile massage.
Right.
And then we also have a course on starting a home-based practice. It's 8 hours? Something like that. Like, it's jam full of all the information that you need to get it going. And so if you're like, I don't know where to start, this is too overwhelming for me, the course is super helpful. It's priced very reasonably, and it'll lay out everything for you. And I get it, it's scary, but if I could do it, you can do it.
What does that mean?
That means I'm dumb. No, No, I really think that it's not as scary as people make it out to be. You can
What is it? What is it that prevents people from pulling the trigger and going out on their own? I really wish I could understand kind of the psychology behind why some therapists are hesitant to do this.
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest hesitation was that I wouldn't be busy enough. So then I'd be in a worse situation.
Right.
Than
Okay.
I was.
I see.
That for me, that was the hardest. I thought for sure no one would book with me.
Right.
I was like, why would people want to? It's just like a low self-esteem thing, I guess. I was like, no one's going to want to come see me. I'm not going to be able to establish it in a way that looks professional. Like, I don't know how to set up a website. I don't know how to create a logo. It's going to look ghetto and dumb, and no one's going to want to come see me.
Right.
And so it's kind of a risk, right? But that's why I say stay at your clinic. Continue doing what you're doing. And
if you're able to.
Because
if there's a non-compete clause and you're not allowed to, right, you have to take that into consideration as well. I think a lot of therapists don't really have the option to do both. Right?
Well, maybe they need to go back and listen to our episode about contracts and how usually you're able to at least set up something, if they have a 5-kilometer radius, then set up something outside that radius. I guess unless you live close to that.
Right.
To that clinic.
Yeah, I just don't think it's as easy as you're making it out to be.
Fine.
Now we're going to fight. Right? That's why they need to pull the trigger.
Leave their clinic?
Yeah, and it's scary. I mean, I've wanted to do that, even with my own job, right? Like, why don't I just quit my job and then, do consulting for massage therapists, like accounting, bookkeeping, income tax, like do all of that stuff for massage therapists. Like, right. I know I would have a ton of people who would be interested in having me doing that. Mm-hmm. There's a part of me that doesn't want to do that, right? Because I really like my job. But I just think, for massage therapists, it's a good option, especially if you're busy at the clinic that you're working at. If you're already busy, there's a good chance that you'll be busy eventually at your home practice.
That's a good point.
It may take a little while to get to that point.
But you have the skills.
You have the skills.
Massage skills.
Yeah, if you're a good therapist, right? It's just the business side of things, which really is not that hard, right? Like, investing in something like Jane is totally worth it, right? With the direct billing integration, even without the direct billing integration, just to have everything tracked and, a way for you to book clients in and collect payment and do all of that stuff, I think it's really necessary.
Yeah.
Those are all things we cover in that course.
Right.
Yeah.
And the main thing I told myself when I did make the leap to working for myself was, if it totally fails, like, I'm going to give an honest shot. I'm going to work really hard.
Yeah.
I told myself I would try for a year, and if it was a total flop, if I worked for an entire year and it was just like
you're worse off,
just worse off situation, then it's not the end of the world. I can go back to working for a clinic.
Yeah, clinics are always looking.
There's always going to be somewhere you can work.
Yes.
And so
that's a good point.
Try it. If it fails, go back to the clinic.
Yeah, and I think 9 times out of 10 it's not going to fail.
Right.
Yeah. We make no guarantees.
Don't get mad at me if it doesn't work. All right.
Just look at your own experience, right? You were really nervous, right? Especially because of what we were going through at the time. Like, you needed to be the one to provide for our family, and that was really scary for both of us.
Right.
Right? But you freaking hustled and you made it work.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, for sure. It's not like, this thing's just going to fall into your lap. You have to work really hard, but definitely worth it in the end. And again, just having more control is really nice.
Right.
Okay, moving on. So the next one is to make sure you're writing off eligible expenses. So one big perk to being self-employed is being able to utilize write-offs. And again, we have lots of resources on that, so check out the linked blog article, and it will provide you with the different resources we have on write-offs.
Right.
That's in your wheelhouse. So if you want to add anything.
Well, we were talking about this, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm doing things that are not legitimate. But thinking about the things that we write off for your business, right? We'll look at your cell phone, for example. Okay, so we write off 50% of your cell phone bill. And so that reduces your taxable income. And so you pay less tax at the end of the day, right? But realistically, you would incur that full cell phone expense even if you didn't have a business.
Right.
Right? And so it's kind of like, okay, well, you would have had that expense anyways. And so the fact that you're able to take half of it and write it off, like, it's a huge benefit.
Right.
And there's a lot of other things where that's true.
Right.
Again, not to say that I'm doing things like against what the CRA allows. Like, you're allowed to, like, you have a home practice, you're allowed to write off a portion of your household expenses, right? And those are all things that I go over in my course. We did a podcast episode on that as well. Which episode was that?
Yeah. We have one, episode 34, which is we talk about a few write-offs. We specifically answer the question if you can write off volunteer time.
Right.
And then we have another one on if you can write off your Lululemons, and then we talk about other eligible expenses.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So another idea is that you could start a side hustle. Again, no one wants to work more.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of maxed out in the massage realm, you can look at other ideas as well. So, and it can be, side hustles are just kind of fun as well. Maybe you get tired of massaging people all day. And so a side hustle is a good way that you could add just a little bit more income, but just be sure that the extra time and the startup investment, that it's worth it, right? And so we do have a podcast episode on that. It's episode 7, Side Hustles for RMTs. Another idea is to hire someone to work for you. Again, this only works if you're independent.
Yeah.
And it's a consideration for sure. And I did that 2 years ago, and she's still been working for me, and it's been helpful for sure to gain a little bit of extra income. Again, also takes a little bit of extra work to hire somebody, but can definitely be worth it. And we have a podcast episode on that one. That's episode 12, hiring a new practitioner. And this isn't the last tip, but another tip that's maybe, I won't get political, so I won't say too much about it, but the idea is to write a letter to your MLA or your MP. So, you can let the government know that life is difficult right now, and, let them know your concerns. And if you have any ideas on how, different laws and things they can implement to help middle-class citizens, then that is helpful.
You've done that before too. Our MP is so good.
Well, sometimes they send out those little like postcard things you can fill out, and then they just ask your opinion on things. And then, like the housing crisis, they're like, what are your thoughts on the housing crisis? And you can like write a little thing, and then usually you can send it back without having to put postage on it. So, just speaking out is important, not just sitting and complaining. And then, the last tip I have is don't be afraid to switch clinics. So if you're working in a clinic that's not working for you,
This is a really good point.
Yeah, this is probably one of my biggest tips, actually. And I'm speaking from personal experience. So when I was first out of school, I was working for a clinic, and it was pretty slow. And for a long time, I thought it was just a me thing. And it took a bit of a blow to my self-esteem. Oh, I thought I'm not good enough. And I stayed there for way longer than I should have. I stayed there for about 4 years, just thinking, oh, this will be the year that it grows. This will be the year that it grows. And it just never did. Yeah. And so I ended up leaving, and it was so fascinating. As soon as I switched clinics, I realized, oh, no. This isn't a me thing. That clinic was just a slow clinic. It was in a weird location. Yeah. And I was super busy at the next place I worked at. And I was beating myself up that I didn't switch sooner. Yeah. I would have made so much more money if I had just left that place years ago. Right. And so it was hard. It was a hard move though, because I actually really liked the people that I worked for. I liked the clients, the few clients that I had. And so I thought, well, I don't want to quit because, the people that I work with are really great. They treat me well. It's like, yeah, but I also... At the same time,
you got to live.
You got to live. I was like, I need to pay my bills. I'm not here just for fun. Yeah. And so if you're struggling at your clinic, whether they're not paying you enough, or whether you're just not busy enough, then switch again. What's the worst that can happen? You switch and you're not busier, then cool, you can switch back, or you can go to a different place or whatever. It's like, you have a lot of flexibility in this career. And so if it's not serving you, don't continue to suffer.
Yeah. I really think the best option, thinking more about it, is to work for yourself. Right? If you can set up a space in your home, either doing massage at home or mobile massage, right? You're giving yourself a 30-40% raise right off the bat. And then you're allowed to write off more, right? So you're making more, and then you're allowed to write off more because you're using your home and your personal vehicle and your cell phone, and you have all these other expenses that come with owning a home-based business.
And if you're working from home, you're saving yourself a ton of time, and time is money. You don't have to travel. Yeah. I mean, I've worked in places where I had to drive 35 minutes to get there. Right. And then it's like, now I can just walk down my stairs.
Yeah. And I don't want to brag. Like we're not wealthy by any means, but I just think about the situation that you were in before you started this business. And mind you, we had little kids at the time, so you weren't working a lot.
Right. I wasn't pulling the same hours.
Right? But now I look at how many hours you are working, because you're not working a ton. Right? But you're doing really well financially. And a big part of that is because you're working for yourself. Like just think about the time that you save not having to commute to work. Right, because for a while there you were working in Calgary, so you were commuting.
Yeah.
A pretty good distance.
Yeah.
It's just such a better setup overall.
Right.
Anyway, so I know that can be scary, but when times are desperate, you got to look at every option on the table, right? And I understand how scary it can be because it's like, you can barely get by and you need money to live. It's like, if you're a really good therapist and you're busy at the clinic or the spa that you're working at already, it may be worth a shot to pull the trigger. Try it for, 6 months. See how you do. And, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Right. Well, we're rooting for you guys, and we encourage you to, maybe do some scary things. And yeah, if you ever need affordable continuing education, make sure you check out onlinewellness.ca. And yeah.
That's all?
That's it.
Okay. Love you guys.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to stay in touch, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We've included the links to these in the show notes. Also, be sure to check out our website, onlinewellness.ca, if you need any continuing education credits. All of our courses have been approved by massage associations across Canada. Anyways, we'll catch you next time.